Hey, what's up everybody? In this video, we learn about how we can set up an empty project and initialize Git repository. We'll go through some basic commands that will come into play while making our first commit. So let's get started. Alright, let's go and get our hands dirty with some Git commands to initialize Git repository, setting up user credentials, and commands to manage your changes before you actually commit them. For that, I go ahead and create my project folder inside documents. Let's say we are building a calculator app. So I name it calculator. On the left, I go ahead and open git bash console to execute git commands. As I'm in the root directory, I want to change working directory to my project folder in order to initialize git repository. Once I'm in, I go ahead and initialize git repository by typing git init, and it returns with a message saying initialized empty git repository in the path to this .git folder. Next, if I can show you on the right, it created a special hidden folder named .git to manage all the Git info regarding branches, versions, user credentials, etc. And we don't want to interact with it manually since it's entirely managed by Git, and therefore we keep it hidden. In console, next to my project directory, there is a branch name listed as master, which it created as default branch while initializing the repository. That means that we are currently in the only branch that is master. As our repository is initialized, next we go ahead and set up user credentials, which get used to link with commits so that other users know about the author of any particular commit. For that, we type git config. And one thing to know is that there are two ways this config can be set up. One is to set up locally just for this repository, and another is to set up globally for an entire Git instance, including all repositories on this system. So we do user.name space name of the user in single quotes, and similarly git config user.email followed by user's email in single quotes. Once user credentials are set up, next we go ahead and add some files to our project. For that, I'll open VS Code since that is what I use for all my code projects. So I go to File, Open Folder, and then clicking on the project folder. Next, we go ahead and create a new file inside our project directory named main.js. And then on the console, I'll type in git status. And now you can see it's showing the newly created file underneath untracked files list. Next, in order to proceed with the commit procedure, I go ahead and add this change to staging area. That is a space containing all those changes which will go into our next commit. So I type in git add space path to the file. And since we are in the same directory as the file is, I'll just type the name of the file. You can also use git add followed by a dot that will add all the changes in the current directory, or use git add -a caps to include all changes in the repository starting from the root level. So I go ahead and just use git add and name of the file to include my changes since that's the only file I add. And now if I type git status to check the status of my repository, it's now saying changes to be committed. That means all my changes are successfully staged and are ready to be committed. To commit my changes, I type in git commit -m for message arguments followed by commit message in single quotes. And that commit message should briefly describe the purpose of the commit. As I mentioned before, each of these commands can be used in a lot of different ways. And you can always consult Git documentation online, link for which is provided in the description to learn about advanced usage of these. But I'll use the commonly used version to keep things simple. If I check status again, it now shows that our working tree is clean and we don't have any unsaved changes, nor do we have anything staged to be committed. Now that we have successfully committed our first change, let's check the commit history, for which I will use git log, and that will return the only commit I made, including author information, date and time of the commit, followed by the commit message to denote the purpose of this change. Now let's quickly modify this file to add one function. Say we want to add two numbers. After saving changes, I go back to the console and type git status. And now it's saying modified main.js. And on the top, it's saying changes not staged for commit. Then I go ahead and type git add main.js as before, followed by git status. And now it's saying changes to be committed and then whatever my modifications are. Similarly, I commit my changes as before with a commit message saying, let's say, add function implementation. And now if I check my commit history, you can see the newly added commit is showing on top of my previous commit. And the head is now pointing to the most recent commit that I just made. In this video, we discussed how we can create new repository, set up user credentials, and commit our changes in a branch. In the next video, we'll discuss in detail the concept of branches and see how we can maintain different versions of code in separate branches along with some illustrations. Hope you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to my channel ABC Star and do share your feedback in the comment section down below. Till next video, take care and goodbye.